A root for allergies, topical skin disease, immune support, gastrointestinal issues, and even autoimmune disease. Find out what it is, how you can be using it to help your dog or cat in this video. Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, welcome. In today's video, we're going to be highlighting a root that can be really beneficial for your dogs and cats. Before we get going too far, I want to mention my live upcoming webinar. It's Dr. Jones's Top 67 Natural Veterinary Home Remedies. You can click the link further in the box below for more information, as well as to sign up. The webinar is happening this Tuesday, October 2nd at 5 p.m. Pacific, and I'd love to see you on it. So what's this root I'm talking about? Well, let's head off into the house. I've used it on a few different conditions for Tula, as well as recently for myself and my family. Some really good results, so I thought it was pretty important to actually do a dedicated video to this root, show you some of the huge benefits. The scientific name, forgive me if I pronounce it incorrectly because I'm really not sure how I'm supposed to sound. I think it's called Licorice, which to me means like sweet root as far as if you're looking at the Latin names. So it's this really sweet tasting root. It's primarily in the Mediterranean. We're looking at Southern Europe is where it's primarily found. But it's been used for thousands of years, and there's histories of using it throughout Greece, throughout China, throughout even the Middle East. And primarily it's being used as a herb for respiratory things such as coughing, asthma, secondarily for gastrointestinal disorders. A couple of things I wanted to add about side effects, contraindications. First of all, sorry about the video quality. For some reason I hadn't hooked it up correctly. Secondly, as far as side effects, contraindications. First, you don't want to be using it if your pet has underlying kidney disease, liver disease, heart disease, or hypertension. Best avoid this and most of those other meds in pregnancy. Secondly, too, you don't want to be using it for more than a maximum of 14 days. Third, if you're going to be using it long term, then you want to use the product called DGL, where you remove that one active ingredient, glycerin. And when that's taken out, then it can be safely given long term. So the first thing I've used licorice for and actually found it to be helpful with this little critter here is for allergies. So Tula had potentially a reaction to something food-wise. You know, I always try her with different foods. And she just wouldn't stop licking at night especially. She's super red. I'll show you here. Right here, your little groin. Really red in her groin, and she just wouldn't stop licking. So, and I did a bit of research, like what's a good sort of natural steroid alternative that's going to work pretty quick. It's this one, licorice root. I dosed her at a pretty standard dose, which is about a half a mil per 20 pounds of body weight, which took me to, get my glasses on so I can see ya. Right about there, about a half a mil of that of the tincture. I just squirted it in. It's got, there's a bit of an alcohol base, so tastes a bit odd, but she took it okay. And honestly, I only had to give her the dose at night for about 3 nights, and that was enough to stop that acute itching. So the next big remedy that I see it really useful for is topical skin inflammation and diseases. So what I did is use coconut oil as a base. So what I'm suggesting is take about a tablespoon of coconut oil. Tula likes to also eat coconut oil. Give a tablespoon of coconut oil in there. Just a second, I'm not going to eat it. And I'll put in 1 ml of the tincture. This is a couple half ml doses. We're gonna mix that up. Not really like the joy of cooking, kind of, not really. Okay, so we're mixing that up, Tula. Yum. The other good thing is if you do ingest it, if she does lick it, it's also safe because of the coconut. There's my topical remedy, just coconut oil mixed with the licorice tincture. And that can just be applied, directly to the affected area. 2 to 3 times a day, sort of as needed. Tula also really loves coconut, right? So I know. Yeah, she'll see this as a treat. Yum. The third thing is for coughing, for sore throats. So licorice has been used, and I'm going to put links to all the things so you have references as well. It's not just me making this stuff up. It's all been referenced. But the third thing is for coughing and sore throats. And recently, I myself, and I'm still not fully over it, had this nasty cough. And that's what I used. And I used sort of 2 things. I'll show you a quick and easy remedy. If your dog or cat is coughing, you want to stop them coughing pretty quickly. So I used, what we're using with Tula, about a teaspoon of honey. It's about a teaspoon for sort of, half teaspoon per 10 pounds, teaspoon per 20 pounds. Teaspoon of honey, and I put in, for myself, I put in a good 2 mils of the tincture. For her, I'll put in half a mil of the tincture. Then I just added a little bit of hot water. So we can dissolve that honey and the tincture and made that up as a cough remedy. So interestingly, I was recently reading a study. They were actually using licorice as a mouth gargle prior to surgery, and have found to be really effective for decreasing the likelihood of people having these really sore throats prior to surgery. I'll link to that study as well. It's super interesting. Here it is, and it's been used. It's not as if it's sort of been used the last 10 years. It's been used for thousands of years for this very condition. Coughs, sore throats. And it tastes pretty good with honey. The fourth one is for stomach ulcers, for acid reflux or gastric reflux. So a couple different things. First of all, there's a study showing it directly being beneficial for stomach ulcers in people, and it's got antibacterial properties against this type of bacteria, Helicobacter pylori, which is believed to be one of the causes of stomach ulcers in people. That may be an issue with our pets, less so with our dogs and our cats. But acid reflux seems to be, and while I was in vet practice, it wasn't uncommon to have a number of dogs, a number of cats on some of these traditional antacid medications, such as Pepcid or famotidine. So another real option in this case would be something like licorice root. In that case, you'd be looking at more of a long-term treatment. So you don't want to be using like this traditional licorice root, which has the active ingredient called glycerin. There is probably over 100 different components that make up the licorice root itself. So what has been found is you can remove that specific part of the licorice root, and it's still being beneficial for these people that have stomach ulcers or ongoing digestive issues. And it's called DGL, or deglycerized licorice root. So I'll put an additional link below so you can find more about that, access to that. And so if you've got a dog or cat on sort of chronic Pepcid, for instance, and you're wanting some natural alternative, that'd be a real option to consider. The last big use I see is for immune system antiviral activity. So we know that not only is licorice, anti-inflammatory, it's also been shown to be effective against certain viruses. So as far as being a natural antiviral, it's being studied right now in human medicine. Secondarily, we know it's playing a role as far as modulating the immune system. So when we're looking at some of the conditions that our animals seem to get, such as thyroid disease, autoimmune thyroid disease, their immune system has attacked it, autoimmune skin disease, and some of these other autoimmune disorders, such as autoimmune joint disease, polyarthritis. And many people are wondering, is there a natural alternative? So interestingly, I was doing some of my own research this morning, and it is considered sort of one of the few natural alternatives. I was looking at one research study, and actually there are people using it that have systemic lupus, a really serious autoimmune disease, and they have to be on high doses of steroids, other immunosuppressive drugs, which have all these serious side effects. And some people, not all, are finding licorice root to be beneficial, giving them the pretty instant relief. So will it work for your dog or your cat for sure? They've got an autoimmune condition. I don't know, but I know that it's a real, serious option and one that you should be considering, at least talking to your veterinarian about. Thank you guys so much for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets. I hope you found it somewhat helpful. I would love for you to click the link below, sign up for my upcoming free webinar on Dr. Jones's top 67 natural veterinary home remedies. And I look forward to talking to you again real soon.